Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing a garage review of this thing, the Chieftain MK6, which I was very lucky to actually get out of a crate in my first couple of crates. So, some people get all the luck. But yes, so the Chieftain MK6, new tier 10 heavy tank, and all that I can say is, screw you PC Master Race. Despite myself being a PC Master Race and playing this game on the PC, I think the PC is now probably the only platform that doesn't actually have the Chieftain MK6 or the Chieftain in general in it in some form or another, in its pure form. The console peasants have got them, and now all of the iPhone gamers or all of the phone gamers also have the Chieftain in the game and in some form. But PC, well, they're still stuck with the Chieftain T95 as a very, very low percentage of the player base who actually has it. But yes, so the Chieftain is in the game. Huzzah! How does it compare to the other British Tier 10 Heavy, the FV215B? Well, for a start, look at this snazzy paint job. Compared to the look of the 215B, it's certainly smaller, as you can see. Comparable to that even of a medium tank, if you look. It's not that much bigger. And indeed, compared to the mouse or the E100, it is very, very tiny. If you want to see what it looks like without the royal skin on it, which is the special war paint, that's how it looks. You can, of course, mount all of your pink if you wanted, your unexpected or your iron will, or even make it very rusty. But yeah, look at the Britain. Look at our colonisation that will spread throughout the service. But yes, so Chieftain MK6, 64% protection, 77% firepower, 87% shot effectiveness, and 35% manoeuvrability. And also, yes, 1 XP. Here's what I have got on this Chieftain, because after converting I was left with 1 XP. Huzzah. So yes, 1250 HP is certainly not the most out of everything. The E100's got 2300, this has got 2500, I know that much. This thing has got 2100. So yeah, it's definitely not got the most HP out of everyone. Indeed, out of some of the other tier 10 heavies, the IS-7 is something that you will see more than the IS-4, I feel, and that's got 2050. You have got the T57 Heavy, which has got 2000, the T110E5, which has also got 2000, so they're not doing that great. Then you have got the WZ1113, 113, and that's got 2000. As for the 50B, that's got 2100, so it's not the worst. The Russians and the Americans take that trophy. However, it's certainly not the most, so you do have to be a bit careful. The hull armour, 127 at the front, 50 at the sides, 25 at the rear. Turret armour, 350 at the front, 140 at the sides, 30 at the rear. Don't be put off because of the 127 frontal hull, because as you can see, that is almost an auto ricochet zone. The lower glacis is a big weak spot, as was the same problem on its smaller friend, the Chieftain T95, which, as you can see, not quite as steep of an angle, or perhaps it is, but it's certainly thinner, only 85 at the front, and also, yeah, that's a pretty big lower weak spot. And so, yeah, the Chieftain, like the Chieftain T95, has got a pretty big weak spot there. As for the sides and rear, yeah, all pretty terrible. 140 side turret armour is, yeah, not the best. However, it is rather sloped. The front, 350 at the front, plus very good sloping and angling means that this thing is very good hull down. Commander's cupola is a weak spot. I do believe this is not part of the hitbox. This whole thing, I don't know what this thing is, but I don't think it's part of the Yeah, I don't think it is part of the hitbox, so you don't have to worry about shots penetrating and doing damage through there. Compared to the 215B, 152 frontal hull, 101 side, 76 rear, 254 frontal turret, 152, 101. So, in terms of armor, the Chieftain is better, I suppose you could say, in terms of the turret armor. However, that is going to be a far considerable easier weak spot. Even though it's not as big, it is going to be a considerable weak spot compared to this thing. Because if you look at that, that's a pretty big slope in on there, and also that's pretty difficult to actually penetrate. However, the frontal hull, I would have to say the Chieftain has got better, due to 127 at an extreme sloping compared to 152 at not such an extreme sloping. So yeah, it's alright. I mean, compared to the mouse, it's nowhere near as good. The mouse is a beast. It is still definitely one of my favourite tanks. However, even so, the armour is pretty good. 64% protection, not that bad. Manoeuvrability, 55 tons with a 750 horsepower engine, 42 kilometers per hour, 31.29 hull traverse, and 21.29 at turret traverse. So it's got the same sort of traverse speed there. And it's not too bad. It's a sort of heavy medium. It's the same as you could describe for the Chieftain T95 as well. In the fact that it is sort of a heavy medium tank. It is of course a main battle tank, similar to the Kampfpanzer, because after all both of these were post-war designs. This was a combination between the Germans and the Americans, because as you will notice this hull looks very similar to the Abrams, and the Chieftain was the later development, came sort of in line / after the Centurions. So yeah, it's a post-war tank basically, and yeah, it's not too bad. Mobility, you've just got to be happy that they didn't decide to put engine reliability as a thing in the game, otherwise you'd never get out of spawn. The Chieftain was known to have a very, very, very badly optimised, let's say, engine. So yeah, you're lucky that you don't have to deal with that, and that you can just assume the engine runs perfectly smooth and fine anyway. Indeed, there it is, a Leyland L60 number 4 Mark 13A. Only a 10% chance of fire and impact, which is not too bad, probably because it's not running 3/4 of the time. But yeah, power to weight, not too bad. It can go around the battlefield at a decent enough speed. Yeah, just thank God that we don't have the reliability to worry about. Suspension, 60 tons load limit, not too bad. There's the turret as well, Chieftain MK6, 250 meters view range, goes up to 292 or something with coated optics. So yeah, not too bad. But now we come to the gun, which is the 120mm tank gun L11A1, which has got a 7.48 rate of fire rounds per minute, which gets it to about an exactly, I do believe, an 8 rate of fire rounds per minute, if I believe correctly. Average pen 260, which is definitely not too bad. That's a decent amount of average pen with its APCR. 310 with APCR premium, which is again pretty decent. 110 with HE, because of course we got hash. So you're going to be using that on a lot of things, no doubt. Want to be carrying a bunch of that. 400 average damage, 120s. They're all sort of the same sort of damage. So 400, 360, 515, which is not too bad. Very accurate, 0.32, plus a decent aim time of 3.6 seconds. Also, something to note, very good -10 degrees of gun depression, which compared to something like the mouse is definitely very good. Also, again, compared to the FV215B, which has got, again, a 120mm L1A1 gun. However, it has got a lower rate of fire, I think that is. It's got the same sort of average pen with AP, not as much with APCR, however. Well, it's actually got more, actually. Not as good HE pen either. Well, actually, sorry, better AP, HE pen with 120. Same average damage, better accuracy and a better aim time. So whilst the gun on the Chieftain is definitely a good gun, it is not as good as the 215B, which is just something to note as well. However, looking at that pen, definitely going to want to take some more HE there. Yeah, so your basic ammo, you carry 90 rounds of it, which is a decent amount. You've got armor piercing, composite rigid, armor piercing, discarding sabot round. Then your premium is a better version of that armor piercing, discarding sabot, depleted uranium by the looks of it. Looking at that last thing there, if it does stand for that, and then the hash L31. Yeah, decent hash. As for provisions, you've got your standard and improved fuel for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power and turret traverse. Gonna whack that on, why not? Then you've got your black tea, why not? And your tea and puddings, why not? For 3 and 10% respectively to crew mastery. And then you've got your protective kit, 15% protection crew from injuries, 10% speed or module repair, 20% fire protection, and 10% ammo and fuel tank durability. Just go ahead and whack them on if you want. Then you've got your consumables, your repair, first aid, fire extinguisher, engine power boost, 20% engine power for 15 seconds. You got your adrenaline, 20% to load speed, and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules for 15 seconds with a 75-second cooldown. And then you've got your multi-purpose, which is those 3 things rolled into one. And yeah, that's your basic layout there. Not a bad tank, really. If we now look at the stats of the gun, 7.92 rate of fire, down to a 0.3 dispersion with a 3.4 second aim time, so it is a super accurate sniper. It does very well hull down sniping with it's a good ridgeline warrior as well because of its -10 gun depression, plus I believe 20 gun elevation, which is also not too shabby. As for equipment, I would say gun rammer definitely for the extra decrease in reload time because you don't really need calibrated shells. It's got a decent enough pen. Improved modules for the extra track durability. Then it is a choice really of camo net and coated optics, because coated optics is a good idea because it's a heavy tank. However, it does fit a sniper role pretty good, so if you want to be a sniper, I wouldn't blame you. In which case a camo net would definitely be a good idea. Then you're going to want supercharge for the extra shell velocity and the decrease in penetration loss over distance, because you don't need the enhanced gun aim drive. You've got a 3.4 second aim time. It's a good aim time. You don't need that. So supercharge definitely. Then I would say improved assembly for the extra vehicle HP. Enhanced armor is not a bad idea. However, it could be a bit wasted because your frontal upper glacis is a decent thickness anyway, especially with the sloping, and nothing's getting through your turret basically. So yeah, it's a toss-up I would say, but probably improved assembly. Then I would say engine accelerator gets you up to 38.77 traverse. However, it does give you better acceleration, which in this case is going to be, I would say, more important. Then I would say vertical stabilizers. You don't need the refined gun. Gets you down to 0.27 dispersion. However, I would say the vertical stabilizers for the buff to the aim time, but also to the accuracy for doing snapshots for anyone trying to get around you. Then I would say enhanced tracks. However, it is really a choice between those two, and then a choice of your choice of whatever the hell those two things are. So overall, the Chieftain, it is a strong tank. It is a very good tank. I've played a singular game in it, but the game that I did play, I got 2 kills, 1500 damage, didn't die. Always a bonus in it. But yeah, mobility is good. Gun depression is very nice as well. Plus, I mean, look at that. You got the Union Jack staring you in the face. Plus, a decent enough looking urban camo. And yeah, it's a decent tank. Good gun. Not as good as the one on the 215B perhaps. However, I would say the chassis is better to the 215B. I still haven't got used to this yet, and I don't think it's that great to be honest. But yeah, definitely a very good tank. So I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.